Good morning, Raxians and YouTubers alike. Good morning. It's Monday. Yeah, right, Monday. Beautiful day here in Northwest Florida. Beautiful day. Beautiful, beautiful. Just a little chill. It's like middle of November. Come on, little chill's good. No snow, no freezing, none of that. No broken pipes. We'll get to that later in the year, maybe. But right now, I'd like to cover. Old Rax has gone keto on you. Yeah, that's right. After several bouts of lots of different weird diseases over the years that doctors like to put all kinds of crazy names on and give you all kind of crazy things and do all kind of crazy things to you. And, that's caused some, let's just call them near-death experiences. But nonetheless, we've now figured out that what I have is called metabolic syndrome. You've probably not even heard of that. If you have, God bless you. You know what I'm talking about. So basically what that says is everything in the body is shutting down. And that's not cool, but at least it's identified and we can do something about it. I see the lovely Miss Patricia's here with an update. So we'll keep going on this. So, in order to keep this thing going and going well, I've been dieting. I guess if you want to call it, that's a bad word, diet, You all know that. But I've been, let's call it keto lifestyling for going on 2 months now. And that has changed everything. Everything. My eating habits are completely different. They, call it healthy, call it unhealthy. I don't care. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it Billy Bob. I really don't mind. But the latest today, I guess you guys know that means kind of a low carb. Some would call it a high fat diet. The fact of the matter is it really pays a lot of attention to which fat, because some of them are poisons too. Turns out sugar will kill you. And just about everything that you eat that's a grain just converts into sugar and tries to kill you. And it's not the sucrose so much, it breaks into the fructose, and that's the one. High fructose corn syrup should be right on the neighborhood of my ILR and Roundup, but it's not. But when you look at the graphs of the reason that people died for the last 100 years, you find out that we're being killed by sugar. And that's a whole nother story. We'll get to that one later. I like my coffee in the morning, and I put a little sugar in it, and I put other things in it too. And turns out I had to get rid of the sugar, and a little sweet's good. And they got some sweeteners that are on a range from causes cancer in rats to taste terrible. There's a kind of a logarithmic curve there between those two. And I noticed one that nobody talks about. At least I haven't heard it. I've never seen it suggested. But turns out that when you're processing fat into ketones, you're knocking these fatty acids off triglycerides. What does that mean? Glycerine is a 3-carbon chain with 3 alcohol groups coming off of it, and whenever you link 3 fatty acids, which could be any of 100 different fatty acids, but you hook 3 of them onto that sucker, and it becomes a triglyceride, also known as a fat. So in other words, if you're eating oil, fat, lard, tallow, butter, if it's oily, and you're eating it and you're not dying, it's a triglyceride. So that means that this, when you break it up in the body, you get those fatty acids, and of course they get converted into ketones and other things, and omega-3s, omega-6s, and 369s, and lysines, and God knows there's a whole bunch of them. And that's all cool. And some of them you need more than others, and that's all cool. But what's left, even in the body, is this little molecule of glycerin. And I got to wonder, what happens to that? It's the backbone of the fat, but it's actually, by itself, a carbohydrate. So it's like, wait a minute, I'm on a low carbohydrate diet. I'm eating fat, and the backbone of the fat's carbohydrate. What's going on here? Well, the glycerin, once it's busted loose from the fat, as soon as it enters, or if it's not already in the liver magically converts it into, go figure this, takes 2 of these glycerins and makes 1 glucose. Well, that's the sugar that's in your blood, and the one they always measure. And if you're not eating any sugar, and you measure your glucose and it's in a good range, that means you've still got glucose in you. Where'd it come from? Well, if you're completely ketogenic, it probably came from glycerin, although there's several other routes. Your body can make glucose out of proteins. It's a little involved. It's not very efficient, but it can do it. It'll do it to keep itself alive. It can make them out of the fatty acids. It can make them out of the glycerin. And of course, any sugar, any starch will eventually get down to the glucose, because that's the one in your blood. Fructose, lactose, maltose, and a whole other oses, all those sugar oses, glycerin included, doesn't get used by the body. It's either glycerin or a ketone. So these have to get converted. So that fructose that's in your sucrose, that's in your table sugar, goes straight into your liver, and that's the one that kills you. So I decided, what is this glycerin? Well, it supposedly tastes very sweet. I can imagine it would. We all know that antifreeze tastes fairly sweet, and some people do a nefarious act, and dogs will eat it until they die. So do not leave antifreeze sitting out. It tastes sweet, and they'll just lick it up and pass away in a horrible way. We don't want that. Glycerin, being the next step up, I guess, from antifreeze, having the 3, goes into your blood, goes into your liver, and immediately gets converted to a very small amount of glucose, which you need. You got to have it. And the glycerin tastes sweet, like sugar. And I got to wonder, if I'm going to use a little sweetener, why not use one that's, you talk about natural, and that can mean a lot of things these days. We don't even want to go there in most cases. But this stuff is what it is. So here's what I got. I think you might be able to see that from there. If you can't, we'll put it on the, there you go. We'll put it on the link. But there it is. USP, pharmaceutical grade, kosher glycerin. Whole gallon of this stuff. Heavy. This thing weighs like 10 pounds. It's unbelievably heavy. Clear like water. Kind of thick like syrup. And yes, you're right. I got it. I stuck my finger in it. Tastes a lot like sugar. Kind of crazy. So, you got it. I made a bulletproof coffee. Yes, I did. I drink these. I wanted a little sweetener in it. And I poured a little of this stuff in it. Didn't really know how much to put in. I only put what seemed like a good tablespoon in a whole blender. And it came out really sweet. And what's weird is, of all the sweeteners I've tried, this is the closest I've tasted to anything that tastes just like sugar. It doesn't taste just like sugar, but it's like on a scale of saccharin being 1 and sugar being 10, which one tastes the best? We all know sugar tastes great. This is up there like a 9, and most of the other ones are like 5 or less, so that's pretty impressive to me. Anyway, this particular bulletproof coffee, which, look it up if you don't know about it. It's interesting in itself. Got some butter. Oh, and I got a brand new load of coconut oil, which I've learned a little bit about. The MCTs in that coconut oil are very, very good for the old noggin, for the brain. They go right in there. MCT, medium chain triglycerides. So when you get the little bit more refined coconut oil that says MCT oil or coconut oil with MCT, they just did a fractionation on it, distillation, and took the mid-cut out that has the C8s and C10s in it. And that's your medium chain triglyceride, so MCT oil. But it's just a cut out of the middle of the coconut oil. Well, that's pretty cool. It's just a little expensive. I tried it. It's good. It works. Like it. Then I got to say, well, how much of that's really in there? Well, it turns out coconut oil has a lot of MCT in it. So without paying the MCT price, you can go ahead and get lots of MCT. I mean, even if it's only 50%, which I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing it's more than that in the coconut oil. You know, why pay the money? You're getting it either way. This stuff doesn't taste like coconuts. It just tastes like really good, creamy, and now sweet coffee. So there you have it. Bulletproof coffee sweetened with glycerin. Yes, this is the same stuff that, playing around a little bit, we can make some TNT out of that. Try nitroglycerin. And yep, you guessed it. Rax knows how to do it. Is he going to do it? I guess I just have to stay tuned and find out. God bless you. Remember, Jesus already paid your price. You can't do it. You can try, but it won't work. It just won't work. You can't do it. He already did it. Just accept that. Thank him. God loves you. Bye-bye.